the lowly squire, the obvious place to start. He's a 1-mana 1/2 inspire game +1 attack. I think most people agree this is basically a learning card. You play this card, and as a beginning player, you learn how inspire works, but like it's not good at all.
Yeah, you learn not to play this card again.
Yeah. All right. Cool. Next. Coliseum Manager. Why is that so small? This, in my opinion, might be the worst card in the game.
Yeah.
Let me get to him.
I can't find him.
Is he a rare?
The 3 minutes 5 rare. Return this main to
Yeah, we're not doing by rarity. We're doing by mechanic
Oh,
right
it's
now.
this thing. So yeah, when this was printed, everyone was thinking like it was one of the first ones to be released, and we were all thinking, great, they're going to make some sort of really weird thing that we can do with Headcrack and some sort of combo deck, and it just didn't materialize. You just got this card that is terrible.
Yeah. I mean, my theory about this card is it's a teaching tool for newer players, because you look at it and you're like, oh, it's a rare. That must mean it's good. It does something kind of cool. I know there's other cards that benefit from being sapped back to your hand. Then you can play them again, get some benefit from it. Maybe there's some cool thing I can do with it. But no, there isn't. And so you put this card in your deck.
To the Warlock guy.
And you you experiment with it, and as a result of losing by putting this card in your deck, you learn what tempo is. Because tempo is actually a really hard concept for new players.
That's true.
So I think this card is in the set basically to teach new players by experience the concept of tempo.
I can't think of a better reason.
Argent Watchman. Oh my god, it's so big.
It is.
Argent Watchman takes that is the #1 worst card.
You think this is worse than the Coliseum Manager? I think Coliseum Manager is worse.
At least the Coliseum Manager, you can be like, oh, it's a 2/1 now. I just traded.
Yeah.
And I can back to my hand.
Whereas this is like, oh, it's not even. I don't know. It's just awful.
Which one do you think is better? Show.
I think this one is better. Like this card, it doesn't fit into anything, because any deck where you'd actually care to play this card, you'd rather play Ancient Watcher because it's better than this. But there's no reason, like, just because Ancient Watcher is better than this doesn't mean that this card is like bad. It's just outclassed. Like, it's pretty bad, but like the logic of playing a 2-mana 2/4, like that's like reasonably good stats. And like Inspire can't attack as normal this turn. It's like you can still taunt it up, and like you can still silence it, and if you're hero powering anyway, then you can attack with it, and like
Okay, I got it.
There's like
I know where we can use this card.
Alright, where can we use the card? Lay it on us.
Taunt Warrior. Okay.
What?
Yes. So you Argent Watchman, right? Do you play
Now we have a hero power.
Do you play Sparring Partner? And then you play Bolster, and now you have a 4/6 taunt.
Wow.
And then on turn 4, which is
Or you
completely
could play
normal for druids.
Alright.
If you play with Wailing Soul, I mean, that would be like, wow.
Alright, we gotta talk about
But that
a
means you don't have
card.
to run the silence.
We gotta talk about a card whose name I can't say without giggling. We gotta talk about the Bone Guard Lieutenant.
Lieutenant Bone Guard. Okay, I swear, I gotta say something. I feel like Blizzard sold out here, and they had a bunch of companies come up to them and were like, "Hey, here's like $10,000 to design us a card." That's where you get the Burglar card. That's where you get, because McDonald's just dropped 10 grand on that card, and then you had.
What are you talking about?
And then you had Disney.
I don't know where you're going with this. Oh, because of Brave Hunter.
Because of Brave.
Oh, okay. I see.
And then Trojan sponsored Bone Guard Lieutenant.
Alright. But let's look at this card. It's a 2-mana 3/2 with Inspire game +1 health. Wait, what did I miss? What did you say?
I'm done. Just the whole idea. Alright.
Alright, when we're done cracking up, Like this card, like the ability's actually like decent. It's not great. It's probably not good enough, but it's not like awful. It won't be played in constructed because
I can't even find it. Hold on.
it doesn't do enough. But in arena, what do you think? I mean, it's a 2-mana 3/2 already, so
There must be a class where this is good in arena, because a 3/3 for 2, maybe in mage where you can ping something down and still improve your guy.
Well, actually, it might be okay in priest in arena if you get a power word shield, because then you can play Bone Guard, power word shield, trade, heal it, and you're basically healing for 3.
Yeah,
Potentially. I mean, I could see it played in priest.
yeah, it could definitely be that. Like you kill their, you kill
Becomes a
their
3/5 on whatever turn 3.
Excuse me, sorry, what did you say?
Becomes a 3/5 on turn 3 if you.
Yeah, it
do
becomes
that.
a 3/5 on turn 3 if you have power word shield. I mean, it's not terrible when priest. If you have a combo, obviously combos are really hard to come by, and
because it's a 3/3 for 2 if you're willing to hero power next turn. Now, that's obvious when you say it like that, but
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
get a 3/3 for 2 very obviously, and all you have very easily, and all you have to do is the downside of having to actually hero power. Well, some of your hero powers you don't mind doing on turn 3. They're not usually ideal because you usually waste your mana.
Exactly.
But something like Rogue, maybe, where you play this on turn 2, then turn 3 you play that 1-drop guy who makes your weapon bigger, and you play the
Hero
weapon as well.
so you play Bone Guard Lieutenant, and then you play the guy that makes your weapon bigger.
Oh man.
The innuendos are crazy.
I think I see where this
And
is going.
we might need a bigger bone guard. If we're gonna be just making our weapons big, then hey.
Oh my god. Alright. I think I want to play this guy just for all the jokes. It's hilarious.
This is what happens after 7 hours of stream.
That's right.
Oh god.
Alright, let's talk about Kvaldir Raider.
Does Dirty Eric use a Bone Guard Lieutenant?
This is dirty.
Oh my god.
No, Dirty Eric doesn't use bone guards. That's why he's Dirty Eric. Edric the Pure might use bone guards though.
Alright, Kvaldir Raider is a 5-mana 4/4 with Inspire, gain +2/+2. So it's basically it's basically that one demon, whatever it's called.
Floating Watcher.
Yeah, it's exactly
Yeah,
that.
it's basically Floating Watcher for any class. Obviously too slow for constructed, because the only reason Floating Watcher is ever useful is you can get it off of Void Caller and then tap.
And Bane of Doom.
And Bane of Doom and then tap.
I can't see it being played in arena either.
But you can't play this for 5 mana and have it be good. That's not.
Again, Priest is another class where it may not be completely terrible in arena, just because you can heal it and stuff. Obviously, healing the bigger things and stuff, but I don't know.
This set is gonna look sick golden.
Yeah. So, alright.
But yeah, I don't think that card's that great for 5 in any decks right now.
Recruiter is a 5-mana 5/4 with Inspire. Add a 2/2 Squire to your hand. So the 2/2 Squire is the same Squire that you got off Silverhand Knight. So
yeah,
it costs 2 mana.
It costs 1.
Oh, it costs 1.
I think it costs 1, yeah. But it's 1 or 2 mana. It's still
Like
not
either
good.
way, it's like you do your hero power, then you have a 2/2 that you have to play using mana. It just seems like really
That's
terrible
so much
to me.
mana.
It's like
You're
so
spending
much
like
of an
8 mana
effort
for
to.
a 5/5 and a 5/4 and a 2/2.
You have to go
And a
through
picture of Sean Connery.
like a Silverhand Knight is a 5-drop that's a 4/4 and a 2/2. So you get one more stat of attack for like 3 mana.
Yeah, that's just not
No.
efficient.
Like
Yeah, it's not good.
this won't even be played in arena, right?
5. No, it won't.
Yeah.
Just too slow.
This is a really
Just
bad,
too
really,
slow.
really bad.
Although it isn't epic, so you may end up having to take it.
He wants you. No, I think definitely making him epic was a poor choice too. Because now I'm gonna get about 10 of these guys in my packs.
Go your mini mages.
The
Silverhand
mini mages
Regent.
set.
Silverhand Regent is a 3/3 for 3 with Inspire. Summon a 1/1 Silverhand Recruit, and it is a neutral, so any class can summon Silverhand Recruits now using this card. I initially thought that this might be a plausible card in Oil Rogue, because you want to weapon up anyway at some point, and a lot of times you play your Earthen Ring Farseer on turn 3 just as a 3/3, so you might as well play something that's a bigger threat.
Yeah. But then we saw
there's another card that might be better, which we'll talk about in a minute. Some people are probably going to try this in Paladin just as a way of generating even more Silverhand Recruits for their Quartermaster. Whether that's good, we'll have to see, I guess. Seems like decent in Arena, right? It's a 3/3 for 3 anyway, and the hero power, good.
Yeah, it's probably okay.
that seems
Probably
like
in
a better
Paladin.
arena card.
But yeah, I mean 3/3 for 3. You want something extra, and you've got something extra, so it's probably fine. It doesn't excite me though. It's like, I don't know.
I mean, it's okay. It's not
It's usually your tech slot is your 3/3 for 3. So you've got mind control tech. You've got BG8 if you're lucky enough to get one. There's a few others. Can't think. There's another one that's really important, but let's go with those two that you get a lot.
yeah,
So it's quite often a slot that you don't want to
yeah.
have another mediocre card in, but it's probably fine.
Mookless Champion.
I'm actually really excited about that card.
Well, first of all, it's a monkey riding a hippo, so craft this in golden. And it's a 5-mana 4/3 beast. It has Inspire, give your other minions +1/+1, so it doesn't buff itself; it only buffs everything else. I feel like this is probably too slow for almost every constructed deck, but it might possibly be worth trying in a token-based Paladin deck. That's the only thing that I can think of.
Yeah, this will be good as your win condition. Because I wasn't here for the Paladin discussion, but I really think Floodagen will be a actual archetype, because you have a lot of cards that when you hero power, you get more dudes. Silverhand Regent, the Murloc Warrior dude, who makes another Murloc. And I think with cards like Maiden of the Lake or Fencer, those decks can actually become really viable, because you're eventually just going to flood the board almost every turn, and there's only a set amount of AoEs your opponent has, and I think it'll just be good.
I disagree, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
We'll
I think
see.
the general consensus of the community that I've heard on this card is negative. Most people think this card is too slow. The stats aren't good enough. Obviously, you can get this off of Web Spinner or
Oh yeah, that's right.
whatever.
Forgot about that.
What's the 5-drop called?
The
Ram Wrangler?
Yeah, Ram
Ram
Wrangler. If you get this off Ram Wrangler, it's really good, because you want to hero power as Hunter. You don't want to run this in your Hunter deck because it doesn't do enough. It's like a worse version of dropping Houndmaster without buffing anything. But if you get this naturally, for free, then sure, it's good.
So did Web Spinner get a buff?
I think Web Spinner got a buff this expansion.
Just look at all these beasts. I think it did. I think it got a pretty good buff.
Let's see. We talked about Recruiter, Silverhand Regent, Mookless Champion, Lily Squire. Yeah. Yep. Let's talk about Dragonhawk Rider. Dragonhawk Rider is a 3/3 for 3 with Inspire, gain Wind Fury this turn. Now, this is the card that I think is probably going to be run in Oil Rogue in the 3-drop slot instead of Earthen Ring Farseer, because you want a hero power at some point to equip your weapon anyway, and if you manage to do that at the same turn that you go off with oil, then you can just hit your opponent in the face for a ridiculous amount of damage and win the game.
Yeah, much better than the just playing the 3-drop now for board presence against control matchups. or any matchup.
Really quickly, Great Detective says, how about Token Druid? Maybe please. He's talking about the Mookless Champion. I think it doesn't work in Token Druid because you don't want a hero power in Token Druid.
Yeah, that's the issue.
That's the problem with it. You do have a lot of tokens, but it's an Inspire mechanic, and the Druid hero power is like... It's a good hero power in the sense that when you need to use it, it does what you want. But it's not a class where you want to be working your hero power into your game plan. Ideally, you hit curve.
Yeah, good thing Faramir told us Ram Wrangler sucks.
Nah, I don't know. I think that card's good, but definitely stay tuned for some Token Druid lists that are going to be coming out. I'm pretty sure that deck will see some more play.
It'll be cool.
With some of the spells, the new added spells into Druid, and some faster cards that they have now.
Yeah.
What do you guys think about the prospect of, like, obviously all the Inspire cards? Are we underrating the fact that you may get double activations out of Inspire on the same turn? Like, we're evaluating these as if you're only going to Inspire one card at a time, because that's the only way we can picture it at the moment. Do you think there's going to be much in inspiring two things at once?
I think obviously when everyone views these cards into a vacuum, obviously there's going to be times where you can't remove an Inspire minion. Like if you can't remove Mookless Champion, and then you drop, then on turn 6 you drop a Silverhand Regent,
Right.
and then you hero power, or you drop what's a 4/1, Cavalier Raider, just on the off chance.
Just because it's there. Yeah.
Just because it's there, and then you that's 5 mana. Shit.
Whatever. Same.
Whatever. Or the Murloc dude, and then hero power. Then you have then you get some insane stats coming out.
The
Mookless Champion comes out. It gets a 1/1. Your dude gets 1/1. The Murloc gets a 1/1. The Murloc Summon probably gets a 1/1. I mean, it's just insane what types of value you can get as long as if 2 Inspire minions are on the board.
Yeah,
and that's why I feel like
that's what
Blizzard,
aren't looking at.
Yeah, I think Blizzard's like this isn't like a death rattle. Like, what if these all were like really consistent and like it's super snowbally at that point, because like if you have 2 or more Inspire minions on the board that's stuck, then you then every time you hero power, you just
So I'm assuming that the way the mechanic works is if you play Silverhand Regent and Mookless Champion and then you hero power, it depends on which one was played first, whether the
I figured that much, but still, like this, I mean, if you can get 2 Inspire effects going off at the same time, then you're, especially like Maiden of the Lake, it's insane. Like you'll get some insane synergies, and I think people are like, oh, it's so underwhelming because I got to play 2 extra mana to get this effect. But if you have a bunch of other creatures on that board that also has a +2 effect, or that...
So basically what we're talking about is the Inspire deck a thing? Like, we've been evaluating almost all the Inspire cards as, like, you play this as, like, it's like a flavor in another deck with a different game plan. But is there a deck that, like, Inspire is the game plan?
Well, it'll have to be, like, a very low curve...
Sticky minion, or just exhaust the early game removal. Because right now, what Hearthstone's evolved into is like, I want to play this minion. It needs to get value so I can play another minion in the next turn. Where Inspire is just like, let's hope this sticks on the board. Let's play another thing that will get some value, and then Inspire actually synergizes with more Inspire minions. So if you can't just put an Inspire minion in the deck, because 9 times out of 10, it's probably not good as a standalone. Yeah.
But if you make an Inspired deck, it'll work. Or
That's an interesting point.
It'll reasonably work.
All right, so
you can curve out reasonable stats on curve and not even use the hero power to start with, and then suddenly just go, right, I'm at critical mass now. Somehow,
let's keep this in mind as we continue going through these cards. All right.
So yeah,
no, it's a really good point. Thank you for bringing that up. Tournament Medic is a 4-mana 1/8. With Inspire, restore 2 health to your hero. The obvious application of this is in Priest, right? I actually
some
think
sort
that
of
there's some argument to be
buffs.
made for this in Oil Rogue as well, because you're buffing your minion with oil anyway, so all you care is that it sticks. You don't really care if it has a lot of attack. And look at that ass.
Yeah. Look at it.
And you're going to need to hero power at some point anyway to equip your weapon. So when you do that, you get to heal yourself for 2. And we talked about earlier taking out Earthen Ring Farseer. So if you're running this card, like that's as much as you're going to heal yourself from Earthen Ring anyway. So I'm going to try it.
Seems like a good thing to try. I really don't like the application of it in Priest because there's just better cards. But in Oil Rogue, I can see it giving it a shot. But the problem with it in Oil Rogue is that your 4s are pretty clogged.
Yeah, I mean, you obviously only run one of this.
Yeah, but I'm sure it could work. I'm sure. Yeah, I think it's worth a shot. The thing about it is that it sticks, but it's like absolutely no threat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like basically, the problem with it is it's only good if you buff it with oil. So like it doesn't actually fight for the board in the mid game.
Yeah.
And some Oil Rogue games you have to fight for the board in the mid game because you don't draw into your combo. So that's the problem with it.
Just know that one of us is going to die to a 32-32 one of these at rank 16 on season reset one day.
Yeah.
Or
Someone's just stick it in priest, double it all up within whatever that shit is, and just
KO people.
Oh wow, that part is very nicely on like turn 4 you drop Tournament Medic, and then turn 5 you can Divine Spirit, Inner Rage.
yeah, that
Or Inner Fire.
whatever
Yeah,
it's
wow,
called.
Yeah, that's what I think. Just the Death Lord.
Someone's just going to do that to one of us, and I'm going to come and look for whoever said it was useless. And
like Revendell said. You can play it with Hobgoblin,
yes,
Cool.
you can play it with Hobgoblin.
which would be pretty cool.
All right.
Maybe this card and the Taunt Warrior deck with Hobgoblin. That's just a lot of crazy shit going on. Let's be honest.
Kodo Rider is a 6-mana 3/5 with Inspire, summon a 3/5 War Kodo. This card has been panned by virtually everybody that's reviewed it because the minion it summons is not a Kodo Rider itself, so it seems like it's putting 2 threats on the board, but your opponent just chooses to remove the one that can keep spawning 3/5s, and then you're left with a vanilla 3/5. So,
Yep. I think it's pretty underwhelming for 6.
yeah.
It's
it
pretty
doesn't,
snowbally, but
like, the thing is, like, I really want to like this card, and I really want it to be good, but it's probably not. The reason I want to like it is that, like, if you get the dream to happen of, like, you keep just spawning 3/5s, like, you just grind your opponent out that way.
Yeah.
But you're probably not ever going to get that
I'll
to
take my
happen.
chance
It's
with a Cairn, I think.
really slow.
if I need that effect, I'd rather have a Cairn on the table.
Yeah.
yeah.
But especially
Well,
as an epic, it's probably good in
again,
Arena, though, right?
If you do get Coda Rider to stick, and you do have another like
Right.
you play Coda Rider, and then you play it sticks for somehow it sticks, and then you play Mookless Champion, suddenly you have 4 6s.
No, sure.
Sure.
I think we are all I think other reviews as well have all underestimated the chance of having 2 Inspires going off at once.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the truth.
Getting
Yeah,
a 3/5 and a
yeah.
2/2 back to your hand
Yeah.
or something.
Some people are looking at the cards just for face value, and they're not thinking outside of the box, or they're not like applying
Yeah.
it to certain situations.
So-
So
Yeah.
definitely.
So, like, if there is actually, like, a slow, grindy Inspire control deck, I would
Yep.
not be completely surprised to find out that everybody that's reviewed this card is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come out and say that I think it's good or that it's
No,
going to be
I-
played, but I would not be surprised to be wrong.
Yeah, for that reason, like I think all of these need that same disclaimer. It's like this
And I
card
think,
doesn't look like it's bad, but
Well, there are a lot. Some of these cards, I would be surprised to be wrong, but this one has like this card. The only reason people don't like it is that it's slow. But any card that's too slow has a pace at which it gets value.
Sure.
So if you
think
manage
it'd
to
be
build a
decent
strategy
arena.
that can actually get that pace going, then this card can go off.
Yeah.
And
I think it'd be decent for arena, though.
I think if you are going to run a Inspire deck, you have to run Fencing Coach, like 100% 2-ups.
Poker Joker says this card could become half decent if War Coda were a beast. I actually think it is. I don't think we've seen the art for the token it produces, but I'm assuming that if it's a Kodo, it's a beast, because Stampeding Kodo is a beast.
Yeah.
So I'd be surprised if it weren't a beast.
Definitely a lot of things to test in this expansion.
Definitely.
I feel like GVG was a lot more straightforward, and it didn't have many
We didn't get
it didn't
a new
have many
mechanic.
options. Yeah, it didn't have a new mechanic, so there's
So,
not many options.
we've
Yes,
just
we
talked
have
about all the
Inspire and Joust.
We've already
so-
talked about all the Inspire minions in the set, but there are some Inspire-ish cards that are support cards for the Inspire mechanic.
Mhm.
So this is probably the most important one. Fencing Coach is a 3-mana 2/2 with Battle Cry. Next time you use your hero power, it costs 2 less. You might wonder why it says 2 less instead of 0. The reason is another card that we're going to look at right after this. But basically it makes your hero power cost 0 the next time you use it. It doesn't have to be on that turn, so you can play this turn 3. You don't hero power till turn 7. That's fine. It costs 0 when you play it on turn 7. I mentioned this card earlier when we were talking about Wilfred Fizzlebang as like the dream scenario I could imagine with Wilfred. That would like make it potentially worth it.
You can just do it on 6.
The people have been reviewing this card negatively. I'm not gonna say that it's good because I haven't figured out what the dream scenario is, but I am getting flashbacks to Grim Patron of the way people talk about this card. Because the reason people don't like it is the stats are really low for the mana, and they don't see the potential in a combo deck. Clearly, this is designed to be a combo enabler.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I mean,
like, it is so possible that everyone is just dead wrong and this card is stupid OP.
see, I'm thinking of the dream scenario like this. And like that Flooded In deck I was telling you about. You play Fencing Coach on turn 3. You play the Murloc Knight on turn 4. It's got 4 health, kind of difficult to deal with, especially with your current board state. Then you play Mookless Champion on turn 5. You hero power. You get a 1/1. You get another Murloc. You get the Murloc, and then all that shit gets +1. And that's just insane. That's an insane turn 5.
Kind of like a Violet Teacher.
Yeah, like a Violet Teacher combo.
Innervate Power of the Wild type thing.
Yeah, it's just you
Except
you,
to an
you
extreme.
make the board come from nowhere, and it's insane. So you have like a 2/2, 4/5 Murloc, whatever the other Murloc is. It's just an insane amount of board. How do you deal with that on turn 5?
I
If
think
you don't have-
Shevek's thinking of like a more crazy combo though. That's like
Like a crazier combo than that.
But
that's-
yeah, I mean, even what you've just said is crazy enough for this card.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty-
I would say this card looks powerful to me.
Yeah,
I mean-
I definitely can see a use for it somewhere in the future, and whenever someone figures it out for like the best use, then it's probably going to be
The thing is-
nuts.
And again, you put the warning on this earlier that sometimes companies don't know exactly what they're doing, but they've tested these cards,
Hmm.
and they've had a bad review for BRM. And there'll be powerful cards in here. They're going to have the enablers are going to be cards that enable, and not just going to be things that people don't play. That's not what they want.
Right.
I think we can assume that this card is better than it looks.
Yeah, and cards like Maiden of the Lake, where it just makes the tempo loss not as strong, because Maiden of the Lake is, you can play another four drop creature. You can play Mookless Champion.
Let's look at Maiden of the Lake.
No, you can't play Mookless Champion, but you can play something like
Maiden of the Lake is a 4-mana 2/6, and it says your hero power costs 1. This does not stack. You cannot make your hero power cost 0 with this card, but it costs 1 every time you use it. I'll admit I've been skeptical of this card. I think that the fencing teacher, or whatever it's called,
Fencing coach guy.
fencing coach, is a much, much better combo enabler than this,
I
because
agree.
this card takes so much mana, and it has to be on the board when you do your combo. And that's a really high bar for a conditional combo. Whereas the Fencing Coach, you just play it as a setup card, and then whenever turn you want to go off, you just don't hero power till then. That's really easy to do.
The thing with Maiden of the Lake though is it's damn near impossible to get rid of on turn 4. Minus Fireball. What really? Even if you Shredder and you have like your hero power costs 1. Most hero powers have like a ping like ability, so you can even ping off your hero power is not actually. It can still be used for inspire effects, but you can still ping off that Shredder since it's traded into it, or you trade into it and then you hero power while you're having your
Maiden for 1 every turn. Yeah.
But also, if your opponent has a board though, like it's actually not that hard to kill.
Oh yeah, I mean if it you're not gonna be like
my
Maiden of the
fear.
Lake, time for the combo.
My fear with this card is that if it becomes a powerful combo enabler, then people will just build their decks to kill it, which isn't that hard. Like,
you can't kill the other one. The other one, Fencing Coach has done his job when you play him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if this card becomes the enabler for some really broken combo, then everyone just puts Stampeding Coda in their decks and plays it on turn 5, you know? Like,
yeah.
Like,
I'm thinking
no way this is
Inspire-
part of a one-turn combo. You have to have it stick on the board because it costs so much mana. So if it becomes a huge threat, then people will just figure out how to kill it, and it's not that hard. It has 6 health, so it's like it's gonna stick if people aren't going out of their way to build decks to kill it. But if this is a huge problem, people will go out of their way to kill it. And if they're going out of their way to kill it, it's pretty easy. So that's my fear with this card.
Maybe it could if that's the case, maybe there's also other broken combo decks. Because when reviewing all these cards today, we went over a lot of combo decks, and we're not sure which one's going to be the strongest, but maybe it could sneak through. Who knows? I don't think it's going to be like too crazy.
Yeah.
But who knows at this point?
But like, this is a card that it's a card to watch because
absolutely.
It's a card that everyone is going to try.
And I honestly think
Blizzard clearly thinks this is a card that is worth running and that is like a part of the Inspire thing in Constructed. I think that's the vibe I get about this card.
Yeah, I feel like
Fencing Coach just seems so much more powerful.
Yeah, I agree. But Maiden of the Lake can actually possibly stick. I don't know.
I don't think this is
there'll have to be so many. I mean,
I don't think this is a combo enabler. I think this is more in the kind of slower roll, tempo-y Inspire deck where you just get a bunch of Inspire minions and then use your hero power and you get upside from it. I think this is just a card that you play in that deck. Maybe you play one of it and you just drop it on 4, or drop it on 6 in hero power, or drop it on 5 in hero power rather. And it's not like you're trying to go off with some nuts combo that wins you the game. It just helps you to be a little bit faster with that strategy.
Yeah, get more value off of your Inspires.
I don't think that this card is going to be in that crazy Kaldara Drake combo deck. I think it's more a more boring Inspire deck with this card. The Fencing Coach is a crazy combo card. This is more of a normal card with an Inspire mechanic.
Right.
That's my assessment.
That's a fair way to look at it.
Garrison Commander is another really interesting support card for Inspire. It's a 2-mana 2/3 epic that says you can use your hero power twice on your turn. I've already built a deck list with this card actually, and it's I'm putting this in a slow control warrior because after you play Justicar Trueheart and can hero power for 4, why not play Garrison Commander and just gain 8 life?
That's gross. Rest in peace, aggro decks.
So
that's the point you concede the game.
I don't think this is probably going to be run in many other decks than that because it's oh, Mage, you get to ping twice. Great. Hunter, people have talked about, but it's you're playing a 2-mana 2/3 and then you hero power twice, which is 4 mana for 4 damage, which is really terrible in an aggro deck. In aggro decks, you care about damage per mana. so it's
Yeah.
it's really inefficient. Even though people hate on the hunter hero power, like the reason the hero power is good is it draws you a card, but this is not what you want to do. I'm trying to think if there's other decks you might want to run it in.
Flaming Warlock on turn 3 in some sort of zoo deck with a Flame Imp on turn 3, then turn 4 draw 2 cards. In some sort of really aggro Warlock.
I don't think that makes sense in an aggressive Warlock deck or a tempo-y Warlock deck because when I analyzed stats on my zoo games, I noticed that I won drastically more in games where I didn't use the hero power.
Interesting. Okay, that makes sense actually.
So
Zoo's one of the decks I can connect with. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, but
I think
you want to avoid
When you get
that
this
if
guy
you
off
can.
Shredder, it'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, you can get this off Shredder. So that's a pretty insane thing that can happen. But like honestly, I think the warrior hero power is the only one where you really care about being able to do it twice. I guess priest there might be some situations like if you have Akanai that's stuck to the board, then you play this and you can ping twice for 2. That's pretty good. But that seems really situational, and priest is like too many situational cards.
Yeah, priest.
Yeah,
all priest
I don't think we're going this route with the priest in this set.
No.
I think priest is gonna be crazy.
And like shaman, you can summon 2 totems, but like you can
Or
play
do 4
Tuskar
damage.
Totemic instead.
Yeah.
So I think warrior is the only class that will see this card played, but I think it will be played in warrior. Maybe it's like a one of.
I agree. I think probably warrior's the only.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the best one so far that we can see on paper.
Saboteur. Justicar is too slow for Face Hunter. Ain't that the truth? Saboteur is a 3-mana 4/3 with Battle Cry. Your opponent's hero power costs 5 more next turn. This is the reason that Fencing Coach is phrased the way it is, because if your opponent plays this card, your hero power only costs 3 since you played Fencing Coach before.
It's like a low fed for hero power.
I mean, it's basically Blizzard printed the tech hate card against Inspired decks just in case they get out of hand.
which is understandable.
It's a reasonable
itself.
thing for them to do. I think it's a fair tech card. It's pretty good stats for the mana in terms of.
They should have made it a 4/4 for 3 legendary, like Lothab.
You know,
I think that would have been fun.
it's nice of them to make the tech card in reach of everybody. Tech cards, it's bad to make them really expensive, I think, usually, because that just pisses a lot of people off. You don't want to make people craft tech cards.
No, tech cards definitely should be there so that anyone who hates the meta, you can always turn and say, well, just play the tech cards then.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's anybody's guess whether this gets played or not, but if it needs to be, it's there.
Yep, that's I like that they printed it in advance rather than waiting.
Yeah. Frost Giant, it's a 10 mana giant, costs 1 less for each time you use your hero power this game. This is not a handlock card. Handlock doesn't hero power nearly enough times to get value out of this. Like in a typical handlock game, by the time you would want to play this, you've probably only hero powered like maximum of like 5 times, I would say.
Yeah.
I agree.
But in a warrior that you're hero powering constantly, or in a priest where you're hero powering constantly, or in a mage where you're pinging constantly because it's a control mage, then this card can actually get really good value. So I wouldn't be surprised to see it in one of those decks.
I mean, what does it have to cost to get decent value? 6 or 7?
Yeah, pretty much.
Like, if you use your hero power 4 times in the first 5 or 6 turns, yeah.
I don't think this is a card you want to
play,
curve.
but
I don't think you curve out on this giant. I think you draw this
No.
giant. You're like, oh shit, I can play this for 3 mana, and then you play it.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's like
so like Molten then.
yeah,
yeah.
like the point of this card, like if you were going to run it in a warrior deck, would be like you're hero powering constantly, just gaining infinite life over the course of the game, and then you top deck this late and you can play it the same turn as another threat or as like some removal, or play it and a weapon and hero power on the same turn.
Yeah, 2 of them at once. Late games.
It lets you have one of those late game swing turns. People have also. I wish Neville's were here so I can ask him if he'd play this in Echo Giants Mage.
He said no earlier.
Oh, he did, that he wouldn't play
Actually.
this one.
Uh huh.
I thought we were talking.
Because you need them to be reliably at 0.
Do the Frost Giants from Echo Medivh are also cheap? Yes, they are. The way that this mechanic works, it just counts the total number of times you used your hero power in the game. It doesn't matter if the card was newly created since the game started. It just counts from the beginning of the game. Wouldn't sabotage imply disabling something rather than simply making it hard to do? Look, listen. I don't have an answer to that question. Take it up with Ben Broadman. You make a strong argument. But I really like Frost Giant. It's no Clockwork Giant.
It looks cool.
Yeah.
It's like stepping on somebody.